May the peace and the blessings of the Almighty be upon all of us sitting here today. I'm Soraya Salie. I'm the founder, member, and the chairperson of Bonteheuwel Ladies, and I think maybe I can just take you on a journey way back to what I can remember of my childhood life. Well, we come from a very big family. We are 5 brothers and 5 sisters, and I am third from the top, so I'm the third eldest. But my responsibility in the family seems like I am the eldest, you know. So, and I enjoy that. My mother today, 16 years ago, she passed on. My father died 5 years ago during the month of May. And yes, I had my primary schooling at Pioneer Primary School, which today is known as E.A. Janari, and that was my principal. And the one thing that I take from my principal, and may the Almighty bless his soul, is every week at the assembly, when he inspired the little ones, you know, and he would say, "Come, I want you to say, we are all like a train, like a locomotive, you know, a steam train, steam engine." He said, it used to go slow on the track, and he said, I can't, I think I can, and it went so slow, and I said, no, but we will just change that way of thinking, and we say, I can, first I think I can, I know I can, so just to keep you going, if there was something negative, like writing exams, and it's difficult to say, no, I can't, and I don't understand, now we change it, thinking, say, okay. And like in Afrikaans, I was like, kan eers doen, you know. Yes, so that was my primary school, and then from my primary school, I must just say, even though it was during the apartheid era, we had quite an excellent schooling. For 2 years we did speech and drama, and I think that is where I get my fluent speech from today. I take it back years ago, from my speech and drama. And yes, I say sometimes I'm a drama queen. So my high school was Bonteheuwel High, and in 1976 I can remember clearly when we wrote our June exams, and I wasn't very political inclined, and we were standing, we were going to write our exams, and I was in standard 8, and that I think 1976 was also the last year of a JC certificate, because I received my JC certificate. And the matriculants at the time, they stood up and, no, we're not writing exams, and I thought this was quite fun. And, you know, only then I realized the seriousness of what was really happening in the country, and the damage of apartheid and so on. Although we experienced it, but I think as colored people, we just accepted what was happening to us, that you can only go to that particular beach or this particular beach. And today we speak to our children, and they don't understand. They say, Mommy, but now why did you allow them to say you can't swim on that beach? I said, yeah, you must enjoy your freedom. Because when we grew up, there weren't freedom, and we could only go to Korpe Beach, I remember that. And then we had to travel from Bonteheuwel Station to Salt River Station, and then my father had to take all our hands like with a little cloth, you know, like a rope, so we can all be together. Only one carriage for colored people, and the whole of the train is for white people, and the entire train is empty, and we're all squashed in this carriage, but we want to go to the beach, and we sort of accepted that. And so yes, the other day I took the club, we went to Korpe Beach, and it just took us down memory lane because we went with the train. And it was so different to sit in an empty carriage and walk the beach, and we could just recall all those moments of years back in the apartheid era when, you know, this is our spot and so on. And yes, so although it was painful, there's also good memories that we can sit and we can laugh about. So that was Bonteheuwel High. And after the riot, in burning tires and throwing stones, and I remember a meeting we had right in this church here opposite where we were having our interview at the NG Kerk. We had a meeting there, and I think at the time the UDF was just formed. And we were having this meeting, and you know, but there were always people who used to phone the police to say there's a political group or something. And we grew up in Buchanan Street, which is just around the corner from this hall where we are sitting at the moment. And next minute we just heard, so Disipura, I tell you, did we run? And I remember by the time I got to the door collapsed. Because everybody was rushing to get up, because at the time they lock you up under Section 29, nobody knows where they're sending you to, and I don't think anyone was ever ready to go, but we were prepared to stand up. And I jumped over a barbed wire from the church. It was so high. With the short legs, I don't know, but I managed to get over that wire. Next minute it was just tear gas. But the joke was, it was serious at the time, but today you can say it was a joke. Then my mommy she went to go look for me. And when I got home, she wasn't there. And then she came home much later and worried because she said she can't find me. And then she told us, when we walked into the church, there's all this policemen, and then one of the parents stood up and they started having a sermon as if it was like a church. And then the police was saying, "Basi meeting, Basi students, fuck away." And we were all gone. And all the mothers that went looking for the children were like sitting as if they were going to church. But that is the things that we went through. And that night my mother gave me a stern warning. She said, "Ek wil hê jy moet meetings toe gaan nie, wat hulle gaan toe opsluit." And she spoke fear into me but when we had the opportunity to throw a stone or to burn a tire, we participated. And she worked, and so when we were at school and we walked, all the high schools walked to Heidelveld, to Captain High, we walked because we were like comrades and we were like in the struggle together. So yes, and I think our youth today, I don't think they appreciate what we've been through and the sacrifices that was made, because I know I had a cousin, Trevor Westendorp, he was also detained under Section 29.
What's his name?
Trevor Westendorp.
Okay. I know a Trevor.
Yeah, Oosterwyk.
Oosterwyk. Yeah, he used to be a lecturer.
Oosterwyk, that's his surname, yes. So he was related to my mother's, from her mother's side. So the moms were like cousins. And when they had the opportunity to visit him, then you could see, and they couldn't speak, and all he could say is that they took me up the mountain, and like weird things that we had to make up, and how they were sort of tortured. And only when he came out, you could tell us that they like sort of put needles under the nails, and sort of for them to speak. Painful, but that was part of the sacrifices for the freedom that we enjoy today. So yes, that was 1976, and then immediately my mom said, "No more school for you." And besides, there were poverty then, and there's still poverty today. You must go and work now, because my eldest sister was married, and the second eldest also had to go work, because there's a family to feed. There's 10 of us. And you need to go and work. And if I think back on my salary that I earned, and I don't think the youth today would want to even 750 per week. And it's from Monday to Sunday. And it was in a shop, but I enjoyed it. Working, and I think there was so much blessings in the little money that we earned at the time, because we were satisfied. And I got married in 1981, and I was blessed with my firstborn in 1982, and in 1985 I was blessed with my secondborn. So I've got 2 sons. So today I have my 2 sons and I have 6 grandchildren, and I thank God for that. So just soon in my marriage, I think it was just after my secondborn, the doctors discovered that I had cancer. And that was a bit scary, because there was no time for anything, so I had a hysterectomy. And 2 or 3 years after that, I had the one ovary removed and then the other ovary removed. And so it was, but we sort of embraced it with good spirit. And this life takes hope. And I was blessed to go on my holy journey in the year 2000. But just before I went in the year, we call it the millennium year, so the 1999 came with the package to me. It was during the Easter weekend of 1999, my cancer came back, and it was a bit very, very scary. so I had to have laser treatment. And I thought, now it's coming at a time when we really made our intention that we're going to the holy, to Mecca to go perform our pilgrimage, myself and my husband. And yeah, I'm stuck in hospital and I'm sick. But by the grace of the Almighty, we went. In December 1999, January 2000, that was our year of our pilgrimage, and thank the Almighty for blessing us with that. So even though the health was challenged during the journey, the spiritual experience that kept me going, and nothing, no money can buy that, and nobody can take it away from you. Yes, and so yes, we came back, and I was just back a month, and then my mom died. That was 16 years ago. So may the Almighty grant a heavenly abode. And yes, it was year 2005, because then cancer was dormant. I was healthy after that. 2005, I had, without any, no warning signs, I went to my doctor and I said, I get this twitch in my eye. I don't know if it's important to tell you, but sometimes a little dot jumps when I read. And he said, okay, well, let me just send you to an ophthalmologist and see what is behind your eye. And I went, he did a nice test, and he said, if I really want to give you a proper diagnosis, I need to send you for MRI to see what's behind your eye. And I went the very next day for MRI. And lo and behold, it was a tumor on my brain pressing on the nerve of my eye. So from the ophthalmologist, it was directed straight to a neurologist, which was hectic, and my life changed. What's going to happen? But if I look back, it was very, very educational. Very educational, because I had a young, first of all, the neurologist at Gatesville Hospital said that he was too afraid to do the surgery, rather send me to another surgeon, because it's a very sensitive part and he's afraid something might go wrong and he don't want to be responsible. So that in itself was starting off on a very scary note. But and also when I got to Bonteheuwel, my doctor said, he explained to me the area where my tumor was like very rare, and there's only a few surgeons that operate on that part of the brain, and there were just about 7 around the world. And thank God one of them were here. And he could draw me and could explain to me, and it was for me, very educational, because I think we take this body so for granted. We don't know how God has created this body. And he started drawing at the hormone factory and the hormones, and I realized something's making this body function, and because we just take it for granted, you need to get up, do your thing, do whatever we have to do, run around, and now you appreciate this body. And I thank the Almighty for taking me through that challenge, that I can appreciate this, and I can, share it with others that had that same thinking as I had before I was challenged, to realize that we need to appreciate this machine. And yes, I had my surgery, and soon after that, because he couldn't guarantee which of my hormones would now run amok on me, and 3 months later it was my colon. And the one thing I want to stress is the fact that we can go to the toilet and relieve ourselves and not see that as a favor from God. That's bad. Because that was also me, and I always just take it from myself, You go to the toilet, you do your thing, and it must happen. It really doesn't have to happen. It's a favor from the above. And when I couldn't use the toilet after my colon is just bad amok on me, I had about 6 surgeries, because every time I've got this big growth on my colon. Now the worry is it cancerous? Is it not cancerous? It needs to be removed. So after the 6th, my intestine specialist said, he said to my husband, I've no hope for your wife. It's just a matter of time. And then I realized then, how ready am I to die? And as I said before, and I use it when I open my Holy Scriptures, when my eyes just fell onto this verse that says, do not despair. Never give up hope in the soothing mercy of the Lord. Whoever gives up hope has no faith. So those 2 words jumped up, hope, and the doctor just mentioned hope. And since that moment, I said, Lord, use me for your purpose. And that was in 2006, and we're in 2016 now, so that's 10 years. which I have to thank my Almighty for blessing me with good health. Because since I made that intention, I asked the Almighty to use me for His purpose. I never even had a problem with the toilet. And I can thank Him for that, And then I decided I need to do something. Because during my health challenges, I used to work. So I work and I'm in hospital, work in hospital. It was the way of life. Because we had to work because I've got a family, and my husband's there, and money's never enough. And I decided I'm not going back to work. I needed to do something. And I started walking. And I went to my mother's friend and I said, Auntie Sharifa, please walk with me. I'm afraid to walk alone in Bonteheuwel. And we just started walking the perimeter of Bonteheuwel. Good morning, assalamu alaikum, greeting people. And inviting people. And from 2 to 4, and then we were 6, and we were about 10 and 12, walking, just walking and walking. And I then decided, or even the group has sort of told me, why don't we start a club or just form something? And I wrote to the Department of Sports and Recreation to ask if we can use the free usage of the community centre. And yes, it took 2 or 3 years when we eventually had a partnership. And from walking 2, 3, 12 ladies, we're now on 65 members. And I think the beauty of this is we interfaith group from different cultures, different barriers, Because I said faith and religion mustn't come in between. It's about just working with women. And on this journey, we met so many different mothers. Our eldest member is 86, and we have another member just turned 80, and there's quite a few that will be celebrating their 80th birthday in the next few months and a year. So the bulk of our members are between 70 and 80. And 60 and 70, so we the babies still between 50 and 60, So, but we learn much from our mothers, but we also find that, abuse is rife. It's actually has become normal. Domestic violence has become a norm in our society. And we want to say, no, we are standing up as a group, we are making people aware, and we say, no more violence, no more abuse against women and children. And then about 4 years ago, we were approached by an organization called the 1 Billion Rising, and it's like a 1 Billion Rising across the globe saying, stop violence and abuse against women and children. And so we are being empowered via workshops and discussing the various types of abuse, because in our colored community, I would say we have embraced abuse. We have embraced abuse to the fact that we say it's become a norm. So we discuss the different various types of abuse, because our people think only if they see a blue eye, then that's abuse. But abuse goes much deeper. The emotional abuse is much deeper than that outer scar, because the inner scar nobody can see. And so as a group, yes, we come together, we meet here on a Monday and a Wednesday. I must tell you, we have so much fun. Most of them can swim, because during the summer season we use the free usage of the swimming pool. Most of them did the Learn to Swim program, and that empowers us, because why do we have the fear to swim? Because we have a fear for water. Water mustn't come over our head and our faces, because in our childhood and many times, we were dumped into the sea, and just that fear of panicking, and that switched us off from swimming. And now we've overpowered the fear of water. And so now, yes, we can say freely, we can go into the water, we can move around freely, we feel safe and comfortable. And so, yes, with the Bonteheuwel Walking Ladies, we now have a partnership. We've got a partnership with Embrace Dignity. Many times we have women that, we're talking about the sex workers, they were probably forced into doing that, to put bread on the table. We don't know the situation, so we realize today that we just cannot judge people. When we drive down the road and we see them, don't judge them, because we really don't know what the situation is. Some of them want to exit, they just don't know how. So this Embrace Dignity gives them the opportunity to exit, give them the opportunity to restore their dignity.
Yes.
And give them some skills and also job opportunities, where they can use their skills and put bread on the table in a better form than selling their bodies. And we also have a partnership with the Cape Cultural Collective, We go to the museum in Long Street once the last Friday of every month, and our mothers are looking forward to go to Long Street on that Friday night. But you know, it's just being they acknowledge us because we have a step that we do. You know, we say we don't break the shackles of abuse, we shake it off. So give it the good spirit of shaking off the shackles of abuse, and so they acknowledge us, and we can share. We can share that idea of the advice and tell people, you know, don't sit in your homes in between those four walls whilst you have a little problem that is causing you to not to face society out there. Come out, meet people, greet and meet people, listen to their stories, and realize that your story is but a drop in the ocean. And that's what I've learned. I thought, I'm giant, I'm sick. There are people who are sicker than me. I'm blessed I can still walk around and I can deal with my situation. But using my situation also to inspire others to know you don't have to sit there and pity yourself. Get up and move out and know that where there is life, there is hope. And some other organizations that we are also, Department of Arts and Culture has invited me last year. I went to PE with them, and the topic we discussed was social cohesion. And there I've learned that it was just a big word. It's something that we've been doing, and I've been doing since starting the Bonteheuwel ladies, was mixing and socializing and just, you know, networking. And I want to say thank you also, you know, to the Department of Arts and Culture and to our government, because we've been quite a few times to Parliament. We were honoured to go to the unveiling of the bust of Madiba at the Parliament for that special ceremony. We were there, and for that I'm grateful. You know, because if we weren't part of a group and nobody noticed what we were doing, we would have missed out on opportunities like that. And also what I say is, many times you sit at home and you say, there's no opportunities for us. There won't be any opportunity if you sit at home. If you sit at home smoking, there won't be an opportunity. Get out and really move out into society. And for me, you know, working with women and listening to their stories, we now, our Bonteheuwel ladies will be 10 years old next year, God willing. And over the years, there's so many different, various people that we have met. But now, today, we can say that we have that respect for each other. We have that trust in each other. Whereby we can sit in a circle and we can share our pain without wondering, will you talk about me? What are you going to think about me now? Because I don't care what you think about me, because I've shared my story and I wanted to inspire somebody. And also, you know, by sharing the story is releasing. But as much as it is releasing to you and also healing to you, it's also healing to somebody that is listening that cannot speak about their pain. Because not everybody can speak about their pain. But by listening, you realize, wow, and I thought I had this big problem, but I don't have a problem. But at least I'm listening to what people are advising, how they dealt with their situation. Now I'm going to use that and I'm going to implement it, and it's going to help me. Because that is exactly what I did. You know, by listening, and eventually you have the courage to also speak about your pain. And especially now, you know, drug abuse is very rife in our area. And a few years ago, I had such a struggle with my son. And the advice for me to parents is, you know, we are many times in denial because we don't believe that our children can do such things, because we never reared them like that. And so we have these blinkers that it cannot be. And until the day that you really you move around and you listen to stories. And I visited a rehab called Bonteheuwel, because at the time I had a sister that was also very much battling with the drugs. And I went to listen to they had a parent and family support group on Saturday. I walked with her and I listened to the sad stories, and I said, okay, thank you, Lord. She's not so bad, but to be in drugs is bad enough. But listening to those sad stories empowered me, listening to how they advise what to look out for in an addict. So that empowered me. So I could also sort of look at my son, because there was a few things that I thought was a bit weird, but I was still skeptical about it. But now I know, now I can put it to the test. And yes, I had quite a few challenges, rehab in, rehab out, but today I can just want to say thank you, Lord. Thank you for this group of the Bonteheuwel ladies, because we are supporting each other. We can cry on each other's shoulder. If we say we need a prayer, we pray together, because prayer is powerful. So that is, we've become a family that support each other. And yes, if we look at him today, I can say, thank you, Lord, but we're not excited about it, because we need to continuously pray, because the devil is waiting. He is just waiting to kick them, And so we pray for everybody, and especially for these youngsters. It is sad, very sad to see how they are destroying their lives. And there are so much opportunities for our youth, and because they are offered these drugs for cheap or for free, And working with the police now, we also learn how they operate. It's like giving you first inviting you and giving you, and once you're in their clutches, now you must sell the drugs for them. Because the first few packets were free, and now you're booked. And it is so sad to destroy our society with drugs. It's a slow death, and that is why I want to really tell the government, really look at the punishment for the drug lords, and not these innocent youngsters that go and buy, because the police are watching these youngsters where they go and buy the drugs. They can even tell you they're buying it by that merchant. And my problem is now, why don't you go pick up that merchant, but you want to pick up my son that bought it from that merchant? So they are telling us, yes, but if they get this little small fish off the road, for me, I don't believe that is a tactic to use, because while they are destroying our children. And also in today's time, we're finding that it's this greed, and then for the Bonteheuwel ladies, we all have children, so we're there to support each other, we give advice, we exchange advice, and with getting all these people on board that come and empower us, we had positive parenting workshops to empower us, we had AIDS workshop, TB workshop. Know that the support is important, because when we had this AIDS workshop was, you have the patient and we have the support structure. We had to practically stand as to support, and now the victim can fall. Whichever way wants to fall, there's a support to catch him. And then the next exercise was the support had to move backwards, and the victim had to or the patient had to fall on his back because there was no support. And that was demonstrating the importance of a support structure. So whether it is for AIDS, whether it is for your drug addict, whether it is for whatever the situation is, the family support structure is important. But what is happening today, within our own families, within our neighborhood, we rejoice to see the pain of your loved ones. Oh, I can rejoice because my brother's son is also taking drugs now, and that is painful. Instead of lending that hand, and you know what, in our time when we grew up, it was, your child is my child. We couldn't understand the term, because all we knew was if you did something and that neighbor gave you a hiding and took you to your mommy, there's another hiding waiting. No excuses, nothing. If your teacher gave you a hiding, another hiding, because she wouldn't eat you for nothing. But today, sadly, we find parents fighting with our teachers. We find parents backing their children that are doing bad things. So there are bad parents out there, and we pray for them, because it doesn't benefit their children, it doesn't benefit them. But we realize it's the evil of drugs that is doing that to our society. And really, we are begging the government to do something about the drugs that is destroying our society in our townships. Because we have beautiful youth programs to uplift our youth, and for a youth to just tell it to your face, I'm not interested. You know how sad that is? And it is so sad that there is something on offer, but nobody wants to take the advantage, and tomorrow they want to say, but there's no opportunities. Only the black people that get opportunities, but the colored people want to do drugs. Sorry, the goeie right moet ek nou sê, nee? Because there are positive things happening in Bonteheuwel. But the fear is that those rotten apples will affect the other good apples. That is the fear. And so out of Bonteheuwel comes we had, and I think we planning to have them also at the event on the 28th, is our two aunties, Auntie Kulsum and Auntie Flory. They're in their 60s. They've just compiled a book, Cook Some Carbs, and that book has been the top seller in South Africa 2 months in a row. Is that not positive? Is that not beautiful? And so we want them to inspire these youth to write stories, do something positive. But we're not just going to focus on the negative things in Bonteheuwel, but yes, we can also just turn a blind eye to it. But doctors, dentists, teachers, judges came from Bonteheuwel. And I pride myself as a Bonteheuwel resident. You know, that I've been here for more than 50 years, and over the 50 years you could see all the different changes. But today, in this year, Bonteheuwel, to me, besides the good that is happening, I'm looking at the physical Bonteheuwel. If you just go to our town centre, it looks pathetic. Pathetic to be called the town centre. Why does Bonteheuwel not have a mall or a little beautiful shopping complex where people can go? Why must our people take a taxi to Vanguard Mall? Why can't our councillor or whoever is involved in Bonteheuwel uplift Bonteheuwel by the buildings? Because if the building looks like that, it is giving the people who live here feel like our area looks down, like a dump. We can't go. Why don't we have readers? Why don't our people go to the library? Because the environment around the library is not conducive for our children to go there. So why don't they look at that? Why don't they make it beautiful? And yes, the library, the building itself, but to get to the library, if I take where I live, my children must walk across 2 fields to get to the library, across 2 or 3 different gangster turfs to get to the library. So we are saying, why don't we as a community, yes, we need to work together, but we also need the resources from government, we need the resources from SAPS. Yes, we work together with the SAPS, but the same story, they're understaffed, there's not enough vans. So we as a community, we really need to set that command and demand on our government to say, no man, please, we are crying, our hearts are bleeding for our leaders of tomorrow, which is our youth growing up today in an uncivil society, which we really don't want.
So are you saying that when you look at the gangster in the community, is there any way of bringing about peace?
Really, and that is the one thing we are striving for. You know, we really are striving for peace, and because also, we belong to the Bonteheuwel Joint Peace Forum, whereby we were like different organizations within Bonteheuwel coming together saying that we need to stand up and say that we want to reclaim our streets back, and we want peace. So we had quite a few successful peace marches, and then once we have a peace march, then it is quiet, and we had a peace march like smaller month ago, and we enjoyed a month's worth of peace. But now, over the weekend now, the shootings have flared up again. People have reached a stage where they are afraid. We are now behind bars. And I want to say, let's claim our streets back. Let's claim our children back. Let's go back to that time when we said, your child is my child. Because we are allowing, in actual fact, we have allowed the decay in our society. We cannot blame anybody else. Unfortunately, we as the residents of Bonteheuwel has allowed the decay. We rather wanted to put more burglar bars and safety gates onto our houses than taking a step and saying, no man, enough is enough.
So this organization, which was here today, the lady that we talked about,
the International Women's Peace Group. Yes, it's an international group, the International Women's Peace Group, and I met them just a month ago, not a month ago, it was in the beginning of the year. We had a workshop on abortions, and that's the other topic I really want to discuss, especially with our youth. You know what we say, we enjoying the freedom, or the democracy of freedom, but our youth don't use the freedom with responsibility. They are irresponsible. And so what we are saying to the government is, we are allowing a 12-year-old child, because in our days you were still a baby when you were 12. We are allowing a 12-year-old child to commit murder by going anywhere to a clinic to have an abortion. It is murder. So it is fine to commit murder, but if that same child needs to have surgery done, and she's 18 years old, she needs the signature of her mother. Is there sense in that? I cannot see the sense in that. But we had this workshop on abortion saying that, yes, we are crying about the wars, we are crying about genocide, but yet we in South Africa, by the abortion, it's genocide. And if we go onto the legal clinics that does abortion, and look at the figure, it's more than 1 million. What about the backdoor abortions and abortions that are being done privately? And we need to add to that. That is a great genocide. So we are saying we want that law of the abortion to stop. Really, because what is happening there is we're keeping a generation behind. It's keeping our youth off and leaders of tomorrow. So something must be done. And then this International Women's Peace, where they were part of that workshop, and I met them. And we have done much peace talks. And to my amazement, we've done now about 4 scripture dialogues. And when we sit around, we were just as guests, because then there's all the religious leaders of the various different religions that there is. And to discuss, just what does your scripture say? Is there maybe something in your scripture, in all the scriptures, that is a consensus that we can take as one unified message that will benefit all of us? And all the scriptures speak about peace. So peace is the ultimate thing that we yearn for, because what we find is there are too much anger. Yes, we can blame apartheid for a lot of things, but we're in a democracy now for more than 20 years. We cannot now just start blaming apartheid. We need to move on. We had our truth and reconciliation. We need to move on. So, what is it that is stopping us from creating this peace? Why are we still angry? One of the things is greed. And I think also when we discussed this morning, just in this general topic, was there's so many different drug lords. And they're killing each other because of greed. Because you are selling more drugs and you are on my turf, and turf doesn't belong to them. We came into this world with nothing, and we will leave this world with nothing. So we need to do something that we can create this peace. And how can we do that? How can we instill peace within ourselves? Is to just breathe and become peaceful and have this peace diet. We were discussing this peace diet. What do we? It's not something you eat, but it's something you cannot see it, but it is in the mind, and the mind is very strong. So if you want to speak about angry and fighting and hatred all the time, then that's not good for my diet. Then I block my ears and I say, I don't want to feed my ears with that talk. And if I want to talk ugly or bad, then I must keep my mouth, because it's not good for the next person's peace diet. So it's what we speak. So we want to speak peace. We want to plant that little seed of peace. And by sitting and having this interview, I'm hoping that I've planted a seed of peace within our hearts that are present here today. And hopefully, one day when we're not there, that seed would have grown. And wherever we have touched and the peace have rubbed off, we'll have a peaceful society.